violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, in school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's get into the video.
Boise Police Chief Ryan Lee calling the shooting at the Boise Town Square Monday afternoon a traumatic event.
The community at large, as well as for those that were witnesses or the families of those involved are involved themselves.
Boise police say officers responded around 1:50 Monday afternoon to reports of shots fired inside the Boise Town Square Mall.
Shortly after responding on scene, officers encountered an individual matching the suspect's description, and there was a exchange of gunfire that ensued shortly thereafter.
So there was a mass shooting in a Boise, Idaho mall. Pretty much no media coverage. And this one, guys, it was a glacier glider. Okay, so I'm kind of confused as to why it wasn't blown up. Then I'm thinking back, and it's like the reason why this isn't blown up because crime has gone up substantially all over the place. And I think that overall, the mainstream media does not want this uptick in crime to be correlated or contributed to President Biden's presidency in any way. So they're just going dark on pretty much all of these shootings.
Resulting in the officer's injury, as well as a suspect being taken into custody.
In a press conference, Chief Lee declined to take questions, but said police believe only one shooter was involved. The identity of the suspect and victims have not been released. Mayor Lauren McLean thanking the shopkeepers who sprung into action after shots rang out.
To take care of folks that were there. You showed in a tough and chaotic moment how much you care and what you're willing to do to support and care for strangers.
Chief Lee said that they are notifying the families of the deceased and can't comment on a possible motive.
Cannot at this time speak to any motivation behind it or anything else that may impact the investigation. It would be entirely too premature to make any of those assumptions.
So basically, this is from a bystander film. They're just detailing the scene of how it was looking during and after the shooting.
Getting ready to check out, and we heard 4 or 5 shots, and we hit the ground immediately. And then the cashier, she hit the ground with us and started kind of crawling away. And then we heard another 4 or 5 shots.
A witness recounts the frightening moments during a shooting today at Boise's Town Square Mall that left 2 dead, 4 others hurt. It happened just before 2 o'clock this afternoon. Boise police, along with agencies from all over Ada County, responded to reports of multiple shots fired.
So guys, this case, even though the sheriff said he didn't want to give up a motive, this could be contributed to white rage, or what they keep telling us white rage is, okay? Now, I don't know what sent this guy off, but apparently he may or may not have had a social media channel where he was pretty much well equipped with guns and all that kind of stuff, like the hunter, marksman type vibe. You know, there's a niche for that on Instagram and YouTube. So he may have been one of those guys, and unfortunately he ended up snapping.
90 minutes ago, Boise Chief Ryan Lee confirmed that 2 had died, and among the 4 injured, a police officer.
Here's where it started. Boise police sent out this tweet at 2:11 this afternoon saying they were responding to the mall and asking people to stay away from the area. About 10 minutes later, they said they had at least 1 person in custody. Now, 4 hours later, they still have the scene secured as they continue to investigate. Traffic around the mall was at a standstill for hours as police set up a perimeter and blocked off some roads.
We have team coverage tonight on the News at 6. Joe Paris is on the corner of Emerald and Milwaukee with the scene there. Andrew Bartline is at police headquarters where the chief and mayor spoke. But first, Katya Stepovic joins us live outside the mall near Macy's with the very latest. Katya?
Yeah, hi guys. We've been out here for several hours today, and I will say the mood right now is rather eerie and ominous as things start to quiet down. And you can see there's still a little bit of action behind me, and I'll step out. You can see the fire department vehicles have left, ambulances have left, but it looks like a crime scene trailer is still here kind of putting the pieces together. You've got several Ada County Sheriff's Officer vehicles as well as Boise PD. But the mood here, again, I want to go back to that. I spoke to a lot of witnesses that were just constantly in shock and frightened when I got here.
And my thing is, this seems like the perfect time, perfect opportunity to demonize white mass shooters and all this stuff. I wonder why none of that is happening.
Not knowing really what's going on or where their loved ones are and if they were okay. And I spoke to many people just going about their day like we all would, right, at the mall, shopping for Christmas gifts or just shopping for the daily errands. And this is the last thing that many pictured to happen. And this is what some of them had to say as they recount those moments.
My friends and I were drinking and having food at Old Chicago. Just paid our bill. And then we saw a bunch of people running out of the main entrance. Look, they were panicked, looking back. We exited the main entrance. Someone said they heard some popping noises. That's when we were told from the restaurant side to either stay in or stay out. So we exited the main entrance, and that's when security pulled up and said there's an active shooter.
Yeah, panic and fear are the two words I'm hearing a lot today, and a lot of witnesses tell me. I actually got more information recently from new witnesses that say they heard over 12 gunshots fired today. And just business owners not knowing what's going on, never expecting this to happen here in Idaho. Again, we talked about this earlier. A lot of people saying this is not Idaho, this is not my people, this is not where I'm from, and this stuff.
So as you guys can see, man, crime is up everywhere, and we don't really have a motive for this one. We don't know. Seems like the white boy just snapped. But people are going to stop recognizing their towns. They're going to stop recognizing their cities because of this crime wave. And honestly, I don't know if they plan on putting a stop to it. But things have just gotten crazier and crazier. These mass shootings are at an uptick, and pretty much if it doesn't fit a certain narrative, the media is not going to cover it, so you won't even know. So here I am doing my due diligence and letting the people know what's going on.
Stuff does not happen, and it's very, very scary. And I think we're all going home tonight with the question of why. We don't know very much about this suspect. He is in custody. People tell me that he is a tall white male, but that's about it. A lot of
So notice how they pretty much immediately identified his race, ethnicity, his height. They never do this. I mean, go back and watch any of my stories. They never do this for black people. They really don't. So just pay attention to that.
A lot of questions, and we're just all wanting answers. Mark.
Yeah, Boise Police Chief also not saying what the motivation is at this time, saying it's too premature in the investigation at this point. Katya, thank you so much for all your hard work out there. And this is new at 6. Brookfield Properties, the owners of the mall, sent this statement this evening. They wrote, quote, "We are heartbroken and are working closely with the Boise Police Department as they investigate the circumstances that led to this terrible tragedy. We're grateful for their quick response and continued partnership." They go on to say this is devastating for our entire community, and our thoughts are with the victims' family and friends during this unimaginable time. The mall also says out of respect for the community, they'll be closed tomorrow.
Let's go to Joe now, who's been at his post at Milwaukee and Emerald for hours. You can see on this map, he is next to Dave and Buster's across the street. Joe, that remains the scene of an active investigation at this moment. What have you learned since we last heard from you at 5 o'clock?
Well, Mark, if you've been with us earlier this afternoon, you'll notice the scene behind me looks significantly different now. In this spot where you see all the police tape in the middle of the road, there was actually 2 cars earlier this afternoon, both blocked off. Within the last 10 minutes, we actually watched a white SUV that was here for several hours and appeared to have bullet holes through it. We watched what looked like non-police people come in, go through the car with police, and then actually drive that car out of here. It is unclear who those people were or how they're involved in this situation. Again, though, it looked like they were not law enforcement, as they were dressed in street clothes and officers were working with them to go through the car. You can see further on, though, in this scene, there's actually a downed Boise police motorcycle in the very distance there of the back of the Dave and Buster's parking lot. We've had a lot of questions from our viewers about what exactly happened back there. And while we don't know for sure what did happen in the back of the Dave and Buster's parking lot, we can tell you that police dispatch was sending out information to officers here on scene, letting them know that a possible suspect from the mall shooting was dressed in all black and spotted here behind this Dave and Buster's area. A short time later, a dispatch report was put out that the suspect was in custody. I spoke to a woman who says she works across the street from this area, and she said she was finishing up her lunch and just getting some work done when she heard what she described as pop, 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 pop. She said it sounded loud, it sounded like gunshots, but she wasn't exactly sure right away. But she says now that she realized what she heard, it sounded like a full clip was unloaded from.
And just, you know, to let you guys know, Boise, Idaho is a relatively safe place. I mean, these things, they really don't happen out here. So the fact that something like this is happening there, you know, it's pretty much a testament to how crazy people have gotten in this country, man. It's really going up, and it's becoming it's becoming a different place.
Very close to her office. She said that she and some coworkers came out here just to see what was going on, and at that point, very quickly, she said the entire area was surrounded by Boise police officers. It's interesting to note, we've watched officers and investigators go through this entire area, even across the street into the Target parking lot, with metal detectors and really searching for something. If you are in the area, or if you've seen some of our video, the entire Target parking lot, a large section of it, it's also blocked off, and people were asking if the incident bled over into the parking lot, if there was another incident in Target. Well, we can tell you what we're led to believe is that officers are looking for evidence. They're looking for something related to this entire scene. Again, with metal detectors, we saw them walking through, trying to just pick up a signal on anything. We also watched a group of police investigators go through the entire parking lot, car by car, trying to see if they could find anything. Again, we're assuming they're looking for bullets or bullet casings. Another thing that we did notice in the back of the Dave and Buster's parking lot is that there was a lot of evidence markers in a really concentrated area. I'd say about a dozen of them for what I could see across the street. And while we don't know exactly what those evidence markers are marking, I can tell you from previous experience, we can say that if officers, for example, do have a large collection of evidence, maybe bullet casings, maybe something like that, they mark every single one specifically and take pictures so they can know where that casing was and how it was related to the entire incident. One thing, though, I also want to come back to here as we look in the middle of the street, still blocked off. It appears they're still searching for evidence in this area. I've seen questions from some of our viewers about the bullet holes in the white SUV that we showed earlier this afternoon. Mark, we don't know exactly what happened. We're waiting to get detailed, confirmed information from the Boise Police Department. When we get that info, we will relay it as soon as possible.
Obviously, that area right there you can see on Milwaukee is still closed and will be for the foreseeable future, Joe.
And just to clarify, these 2 scenes, we haven't heard from police because the chief didn't take any questions. We don't know if these are related positively at this point, but we will continue to work to find that out. And Joe, I do have a question for you. Earlier in your live shot, you showed us a car that had at least 1 bullet hole through it. That's now gone. Do we know what happened with that car?
Right, so again, that was the white SUV. It was just talking about at the beginning of the report, if you missed it, there was a white SUV that was parked here in the middle of the road that again appeared to have a bullet hole through the passenger and the driver's side at the front of the car. Again, about 10-15 minutes ago, we watched what looked like police investigators or police leaders walk 2 people in with street clothes, walk them up to the car, help them go through the car, took a few things in and out of it, and then we watched them drive the car away from the scene. You may notice there was a second car here as well that also was driven out of the area.
Okay, Joe, thank you so much.
Well, you just alluded to the fact there was a press conference today. Andrew Bartline was there this afternoon when that took place at 4:30, live on our 4 o'clock show, when Boise's police chief and Andrew, a very emotional mayor, addressed this attack. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, one of the first things that Ryan Lee told us, Police Chief Ryan Lee, off the top, was that it is an ongoing scene, an ongoing investigation. We're seeing that from Katya and Joe's reporting just a moment ago as well. Did confirm 6 total were shot, 2 dead, 4 injured. Of those 4 injured, one of them is a police officer.
2 dead, 4 injured. One of them is I believe it was a security guard, not necessarily a police officer though.
Again, that's information confirmed from Chief Ryan Lee with the Boise Police Department. He said they received a call at around 1:50 p.m. about this shooting at the mall. Boise police then promptly responded. There was a man on scene who was a suspect. They exchanged gunfire. That's how that officer was injured. And that suspect that Boise police exchanged gunfire shots with has been put into custody. They do believe he's acting alone, though they said they're still sorting through the mall, clearing it out, ensuring that that is true. But that is the police department's belief. Last we heard from Chief Lee that that suspect was acting alone. Now, they couldn't speak to any motivation. We know there are many questions. A lot of people tried to ask questions, but because it is an ongoing investigation, the Boise Police Department would not answer any questions. But the police chief did give us a pretty good summary. We'll play that for you now.
I cannot stress enough how traumatic this event is for the community at large, as well as for those that were witnesses or the families of those involved or involved themselves. With that said, at this time, we're aware of at least 6 people that were injured during this incident. We are working to notify the families of anybody that was injured. Amongst the injured includes 1 police officer, and we're sad to report that at least 2 people were killed in this event. We would ask that the community at large keep their families of the deceased in their thoughts, and that they also respect their privacy of any of the immediately affected.
Now, because there was a shooting with a police officer, that portion of this will be investigated by the Critical Incident Task Force. Pretty standard protocol, what we've seen here in Idaho. Additionally, the rest of this will be investigated by the Boise Police Department. Now, Mark, you mentioned off the top here that Boise Mayor Lauren McLean spoke to this as well, and Katya told us earlier in the show, too, that people are really shooken by this because, you know, this is Idaho. They're saying, this isn't my home. This isn't the state I grew up with. We're not used to seeing this kinds of stuff around here, especially in Boise. And the mayor spoke to that as well.
Countless people found themselves in a situation they never would have nor should have expected. As we think about those that were hurt today, my heart goes out to those who sheltered in place, those who saw this crime, those who weren't sure if they'd see a loved one again, or who knew that they had someone they cared about in the mall. And on that, I want to reiterate what the chief has said. People still in the mall are safe. People in Boise are safe. Your safety is our priority.
Now, hearing a lot of emotion from the mayor there, connecting with people, as this is something that has really hit the community hard. But this is all the information that we were able to get confirmed from Police Chief Ryan Lee here today at this press conference. All the other information we've been able to collect has come from Katya and Joe out there on the streets at the scene. Again, no questions were answered because this is an ongoing investigation. Mark, Morgan.
Andrew Bartline reporting live for us tonight. Andrew, thank you.
Guys, I just wanted to show you the suspected shooter, Jacob Bergquist. Apparently he died in the hospital. So here we're gonna go through these 5 fast facts you need to know. And yeah, I mean, this is Buddy right here. Apparently he is on demon time. Okay, so we're gonna get right to it. Oh no, this is the victim, I believe, Joe Acker. But the guy who did it was Jacob Bergquist, okay? So Jacob Bergquist was identified by the coroner and police as the active shooter in the Boise, Idaho mall shooting that left 2 people dead, including a security guard and mall customer, and 5 more wounded. Although he was initially in critical condition, Bergquist, 27, whose Boise address was searched, has now died. Police described a chaotic scene in which the security guard and a Boise police officer confronted the suspect, and a gun battle between the officer and suspect erupted at the Boise Town Square, a popular mall. One of the deceased victims was named as Joe Acker, the mall security guard and military veteran who was called a hero. The other deceased victim was named Robert Padilla Arguelles. Absolutely tragic that something like this in Boise, Idaho, with our population increase, comes crime, and it's so very sad. I grew up here and was just at the mall with my kids last night. This is absolutely horrific. I can tell you a lot more Idahoans will start packing now, as they should protect themselves and their families, a woman wrote on the shopping center's comment thread on Facebook. So here we go. Jacob Bergquist was dressed in black when he showed up at the mall heavily armed. 2, video showed the panic at the scene. The suspect had multiple firearms. 3, authorities say they weren't sure of Bergquist's motive. 4, there were previous disorderly incidents at the mall involving Bergquist. And 5, the mall's page declared people heartbroken, calling the shooting a terrible tragedy. So let me see if I can find a picture of this guy Bergquist, because it's looking like they're only showing the 2 men who passed away. But let me look for it, see if I can find it. Wow. Okay, so I've come across something that is pretty different. Okay. The heroic Army veteran, 26, working as a security guard, was actually a LGBT trans person. Okay. So this was Joe Acker, and apparently he was a trans female. So maybe that has something to do with the motive. I'm not sure, but it looks like he tried to stop the shooting in any way that he could. But yes, this dude was definitely trans person. Okay, so I don't know if that had anything to do with the motive, but seems like this guy just started popping off shots at random. Okay. All right, guys. I actually found more information on this Jacob Bergquist guy. So here we go. Jacob Bergquist, the Boise mall shooter, was a racist gun advocate who thought felons should be legally allowed to possess firearms. Okay. His YouTube channel said firearms, content, and conservative politics. I am a convicted felon that currently lives in Boise, Idaho. This channel's main dedication is towards repealing the prohibited possessor list in various states throughout the union. He moved here from Illinois, a state that has laws requiring state-issued permits, to Idaho, where there are no laws against gun show sales without a background check and no state-issued permit requirement. He killed a Hispanic man who, judging by the description on his YouTube channel, he likely targeted. It was past time to close these loopholes. So that is the narrative that's going to be spent for this one, gun control. So here we go. We're going to read his description. I am a convicted felon that is a Boise, Idaho resident in the U.S. Many of my early videos of my interactions with squirrels and raccoons were while I was residing in Chicago, Illinois, in the United States. I don't know if he's referring to actual squirrels and raccoons, or if that's some racist rhetoric, who knows. I post anything from interactions with animals to various short clips of buildings or cities or anything else I deem worthy of sharing. As of April 2020, all videos that I film and post are filmed with an iPhone in 4K resolution. This is a firearms first channel, animal/rodent second. Okay. Guns and rodents maintain a zero tolerance policy towards ghetto blasters and general Hispanics. You will be blocked, banned, and deleted, whichever is most applicable. No negotiations. This means minorities are not welcome here. Get out of here and do not view any of my videos. Go back to Ishhole, Guatemala. So yeah, there's some animosity there. Definitely some animosity there. And these are the online racists who end up showing up in real life, I guess. So they're basically putting the background checks for private sales, information there. Let's see. Another woman posted Jacob Bergquist, the Boise mall shooter. These are screenshots from his YouTube channel. Other YouTube video got taken down. People posted he was taunting the police. It was some violent taunting instead of taunting them with the truth. As you can see, he claims to be a felon, originally from Chicago, and clearly is obsessed with guns. He's racist and gun obsessed. That's likely why he's in Idaho. He had issues at the mall, but no specific info. Police say they were familiar with him. Seems like a better candidate for police stalking than an elderly woman living in a minivan, not committing crimes to me. CCDC and City Hall have a primary goal of torturing homeless in vehicle instead of using resources for those who commit actual crimes, when the real crime is there's no affordable housing. So interesting there. This is the guy. Yeah, I mean, he pretty much fits the skinhead description vibe. So, wow. Very weird.
Gang violence and other kind of violence. Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.